Mario Kart 8 is now officially over. After almost 10 years of this game, I mean seriously, going from the Wii U to the Switch and even adding DLC with 6 waves and 48 total tracks, we are now officially done as Wave 6 has just dropped and Nintendo has ended it, even added a credit scenes and a nice little picture at the end. We are completely done with Mario Kart 8, which means we can now finally look forward into the future, get excited for what could be coming next, meaning Mario Kart 9, or technically it'd be Mario Kart 10 since, you know, let's face it, Mario Kart Tour is pretty much Mario Kart 9. But whatever the next Mario Kart is, I think it needs to change drastically, as Mario Kart 8 almost felt like the Smash Ultimate for Mario Kart, as it just kind of brought back all of the stages and tracks that we miss. So yeah, I think it's time for almost a revamp and a reimagining of what Mario Kart could be. Now today, I want to note that I'm not talking about a Nintendo Kart happening. In fact, I want it to stay Mario Kart, as a Nintendo Kart is a whole separate thing that we can talk about at another time. But let's talk about how Mario Kart could evolve and change completely from what we know and love. However, before we dive in, I want to make sure that you guys leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. It helps out so much. Let's see how many we can get to subscribe from this one video. But without further ado, let's jump into what the future of Mario Kart could be. The one thing to go over is the tracks in Mario Kart, and this is what really makes or breaks a Mario Kart game. It's all about the tracks, and I think overall the main premise of the next Mario Kart game should be celebrating what Mario is and exploring what Mario is. I feel like a lot of the time the tracks from Mario Kart can be inspired by certain games, but you really don't see direct comparisons between the tracks and what they come from. For instance, you never go into an actual Peach's castle that's representative of Mario 64 or the games. You never have a Galaxy-themed track or an Odyssey-themed one either. They're mostly just tracks with some slight inspiration and references, but they're unique tracks as well. And I think that's completely fine. Having tons of Mario Kart games with completely original tracks that don't tie to really any specific games is cool and all, but I think it's time that we actually start getting some tracks that call back to specific games now. Now, there are definitely examples within Mario Kart now, but a lot of those examples are from outside of Mario game tracks. For instance, the F-Zero track feels like an F-Zero track. You have the Animal Crossing themed track that feels like a little Animal Crossing island with the villagers and everything around, like it's directly taken from the game. Hyrule Circuit literally has you going through Hyrule Castle, seeing the Master Sword, going through the little jungle area with Deku Babas and keys flying around. I mean, it's really a Zelda-themed track. Yoshi's Island has you going around the actual Yoshi's Island, the world map from the video game, which matches perfectly one-to-one from all the creatures walking around, the enemies, and even the areas. And DK Jungle pulls elements straight from Donkey Kong Country Returns from the enemies walking around and even the Golden Temple with the golden banana on the inside. It's perfect. But outside of these tracks, you don't have much more that gives direct references to those themes. For instance, you'll have some small little Easter eggs, as Rosalina's Ice World has Comet Observatory in the background and that starter planet in the background, but that's about it. You don't interact with those. It's not like we're racing around Comet Observatory. I mean, imagine how cool that would be compared to just a random ice world with the Comet Observatory slammed in the background. So let me give some examples. Mario 64, we do have Tick-Tock Clock, which is a really good reference, but what if we went even further and had like the entirety of Bob-omb Battlefield, and it was a race all the way to the top of the mountain or something like that, and it was checkpoint based instead of laps? It would be really cool, and you finished at the top of the mountain. Or what if they just had one where you're driving through the entirety of Peach's castle in one giant checkpoint based lap, where you actually jump through the paintings in different sections and jump out of a different painting somewhere else in the castle or something like that, where you can touch and see different parts and different elements of these different worlds and, you know, go throughout Peach's castle as well. That would be phenomenal. Mario Sunshine, we already had a Delfino Plaza back in the day, but it never really referenced the game itself that well, like Delfino Square all the way to the core. So what if they actually made it the actual Delfino Square from Mario Sunshine, where you're going through similar areas? Or maybe just like Mario 64, you can jump through Bowser Jr.'s little paintings and actually go through specific sections of the world. It's like visit Gelato Beach or Rico Harbor or even Bianco Hills for just a quick second would be really cool. Once again, for Mario Galaxy, we could race around Rosalina's Comet Observatory or even around the Good Egg Galaxy, going from planet to planet and racing around the planet with zero gravity mechanics or something would be really, really cool. I mean, any of the galaxies work really well in Super Mario Galaxy, and you can convert any of them into a fun racetrack, or maybe multiple of them into this game. We could get one based off of some of the worlds from Mario 3D World, or maybe even the entirety of Lake Lapcat we could race around. And don't even get me started on Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, literally the kingdoms are just possible playgrounds for Mario Kart tracks. You could have a track in any single kingdom and just have you drive through specific locations, like Toast Arena, driving through the inverted pyramids or flying up inside the one that was flying in the air. I still don't understand how a game full of city tracks never did get a New Donk City DLC. I mean, it just makes too much sense. No, we don't want New York Minute, we want New Donk City, baby. But my point is, there's so many past Mario games that Nintendo can pull from. And I'm not even just talking about mainline Mario. You could go to other franchises too, like 2D Mario, spin-offs like Paper Mario, or even Mario and Luigi with the Bean Bean Kingdom could even work. Seeing Yoshi's Island, throwing some more Yoshi's Island themed tracks, maybe some WarioWare tracks like Diamond City would be really cool, and seeing cameos from all the characters. Maybe we could get some tracks based on Donkey Kong and different Donkey Kong games throughout the series. Maybe even Donkey Kong Country 2 or 3 could get represented. Maybe Tropical Freeze could get represented in some way. There's so many IPs and franchises from the Mario standpoint. You could fill a complete game full of themed tracks, which would be really cool. Not to mention all the characters that you could pull from these games as well. You could have a real Luigi's Mansion track, maybe going through all the different rooms and stuff, or Luigi's Mansion 3 going through the hotel and Egad's a playable character and stuff like that, or the true King Boo is a playable character. There's so many things that could be put into this game, and it just makes me excited to think about them. And no, this still will be a Mario Kart, but we could still get some guest characters like we got in Mario Kart 8, like the Inklings, the Animal Crossing villagers, even Link, and maybe just add, some new characters this time around, like maybe Kirby, Captain Falcon for crying out loud after you had 2 tracks in Mario Kart 8. Samus would even be cool, or maybe some more Zelda characters like Zelda herself would be awesome to see, and maybe having tracks that represent their series as well, like having a Dreamland track for Kirby. But what's going to be this game's main different mechanic, as there's always a new one, with Double Dash having 2 players in one cart, Mario Kart Wii having brand new motion controls where you can actually turn, and even adding motorcycles/bikes. Mario Kart 7 had glider sections and underwater sections, and Mario Kart 8 had zero gravity. So what are we going to get with this next Mario Kart game? I feel like most of the mechanics will come down based on the stage in this game. I would really like to see the stage actually add something unique, so that way not only is it a fun stage that you can pick, but depending on the stage that you pick, it has some unique feature only for that stage specifically. If you pick a Mario Sunshine track, it will have maybe nozzle pickups where you can pick up the rocket nozzle or the hover nozzle or something to squirt people with, and there's lots of ink all over these tracks from Bowser Jr. Or you pick a Mario Odyssey track, you're able to actually use Cappy or something and maybe capture certain things in order to turn into them for a second, or maybe throw your hat at people. I don't know, something along those lines. If you choose a Luigi's Mansion track, you can use your Poltergust in order to suck up ghosts, or like spit them out at enemies, or maybe use specific ghosts, or maybe the items themselves change depending on what track you're on. Like you can only get a cat power-up, which lets you swipe at enemies nearby if you are in the Mario 3D World stages. And you can only get the Metal Cap defense suit if you are in a Mario 64 stage. That would make it very unique instead of just having tons of items that you can use on any stage. That would give people even more of an incentive to pick a track, not just because they like it, but because there's specific items that they can only use in that track. And maybe they could also incorporate enemies from that specific game it comes from. You could have cat Goombas in Mario 3D World, or polluted piranha plants all over the place based on a Mario Sunshine track. Not only is the track themed, but so are the enemies and NPCs and everything, even the items in that stage, making these stages extremely unique. On top of the track-specific items, I would love to see special items brought back for individual characters, like from Double Dash, allowing your character to have a special item that only they can get, which which also makes choosing different characters vital. You know, for people that want to just stay as Mario all the time, like myself, and don't really have a big incentive to choose any other character, now choosing a specific character becomes vital, because now it changes how you play the game. You can use Mario, who throws giant fireballs, or Bowser that might turn into a giant spiked shell and knock people out the way, or maybe Peach that throws up her hearts as more of a defensive shield, and maybe it changes how you want to play this game. And then if we get DLC adding more characters, they will be even more exciting, because we can look forward to not only new characters, but also their new special abilities and why we would want to choose them. And I could literally make a video all about this, but the next Mario Kart should definitely have a better single-player experience. I mean, shoot, we haven't really had a good one since Mario Kart DS, which actually gave us missions to complete, and for crying out loud, it even gave us boss battles. So I would love to see something like that implemented within the next Mario Kart, or maybe even more of a Diddy Kong Racing story mode, which actually kind of had a mini open world that you could drive around and go from mission to mission. Something along those lines would be really cool to see return. So not for a second have I sat here and thought, man, there's just no possible way they can make another Mario Kart, because there's still so many ideas they haven't even tapped yet. I mean, in general, I think Mario Kart 8 still plays it extremely safe by bringing back a lot of tracks that we've already had so far. I mean, 75% of the game is tracks that we've played already that just returned. And that's why I also believe that this next Mario Kart game isn't going to be like that. I don't think it's really going to bring back many retro tracks or any tracks from past Mario Kart games, but instead have tons of new, unique ones, and not really going to have a reason to bring back any old ones in the first place. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did its thing with this DLC. It feels like it's the ultimate Mario Kart game, and we can always go back and play those old tracks if we want to, but this new Mario Kart game has to be something different. It has to change up what we know about Mario Kart, change up the track design, change up where it grabs its inspiration, and change up how we pick our characters and our karts, and what happens with the mechanics in this next game has to be something drastic to get anywhere near the amazing sales that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe put up. But this next Mario Kart game, I do believe, is almost done. I feel like they've had plenty of time to work on this game, and I think they have been in the background. That might actually be the whole purpose of them releasing this DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for over 2 years, giving the dev team ample amount of time to get this project done for the next big console, which apparently is coming towards the end of this year. So if I was a betting man, I think we could definitely see the next Mario Kart by 2025 or even 2026. But like always, I leave it up to you guys. What would you like to see from the next Mario Kart game? Be specific, tell me your details down below. I'm very curious to see what you have to say, and give me as many ideas as you possibly can. If you come up with a lot, maybe I'll make a future video showing all your ideas. So, in order to be a participant of a future video, in all caps type the word wish followed by your next Mario Kart game wish. And don't make it extremely long, but just make it a quick detailed analysis of what you want to be added in the next Mario Kart game, and you could be eligible to appear in a future video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, guys, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.